finally, we've received some latest updates from Sony on The Last of Us Part 2's multiplayer factions game mode, which was recently just cancelled. And it actually seems that Bungie Studios, the guys behind the infamous game Destiny, are the reason why Sony decided to cancel The Last of Us Part 2's factions game mode, which is supposed to be the first-party AAA multiplayer game that Sony originally had planned. And now, as you can see, the report comes from Push Square, where it says that Naughty Dog found Bungie's feedback for The Last of Us Part 2's multiplayer to be extremely helpful. Now, Naughty Dog reportedly claimed that the multiplayer after discussing with Bungie. Naughty Dog basically asked Bungie Studios, the guys behind games like Destiny, who have been making a bunch of multiplayer games, and since Naughty Dog is a studio that only makes games on single-player narrative experience, so they wanted to take some external feedbacks from guys who actually know how the multiplayer system works. And they decided to go to Bungie Studios and ask them opinions on what they think about the multiplayer that Sony has already worked on with The Last of Us Part 2's faction game mode. And the guys at Bungie Studios, they tried the game out and they said that it's not going to work out. And Sony should rather invest in a much better multiplayer project. And the game is none other than Concord, which is the latest hero shooter game that nobody seems to care about. And Sony right now is very pissed at Bungie Studios, and it seems like they're just completely laying off the studios after what happened to Concord, because literally nobody is interested in Concord. And this game turned out to be something that PlayStation Studios gave up in making The Last of Us Part 2's faction game mode in order to rather put their focus onto Concord, which Bungie Studios just made them believe that this could be the next big thing rather than focusing on The Last of Us Part 2's multiplayer, which honestly, in my opinion, if they would have decided to go for The Last of Us Part 2's faction game mode, I think people always wanted that one. And if Sony would have only listened to what fans have been asking for all this time, rather than just looking at all of these outlets and medias and other developers, I think they would have succeeded a lot more this year than what Xbox has been trying to do with the Game Pass, because there are some massive titles that's coming out for Xbox Game Pass at the same time. As you can see, Xbox has announced plenty of good stuff that is coming to their Game Pass this year, which all the players will be able to play all of these games for absolutely free. And it's so much better at this point comparing that with PlayStation Plus. And I'm a huge fan of Sony. I've been using PlayStation Plus services for all these years. And finally, for the very first time, I think that Microsoft is doing an incredible job. We're purchasing Call of Duty from Activision, and they are now releasing this game inside of the Game Pass subscription. So you will be able to play Black Ops 6 on day one. You also have Indiana Jones, which you'll be able to play on day one of the launch. You also have Evolved, you have South of Midnight, you have Doom, The Dark Ages, you have Fable, you have Diablo, and so many good first-party games are planned to release on Xbox this year, which is also being shared on the PlayStation consoles, but then it's going to be available for free on the Game Pass. So just take a look at how big leap of a faith that Xbox has taken. And it seems like Sony is not really happy about whatever is going on right now, and they're kind of just regretting at this point that they decided to go for Concord rather than making The Last of Us Part 2's multiplayer. And now nobody is pre-ordering the game Concord. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not a bad game. It's of course a fantastic game. It plays good. It also looks amazing. But what's lacking here is that there are too many hero shooter games out there at this point. And I don't think that players are really looking for something that's already available for free to play. But now you need to pay $40 for a game like Concord. And we've got games like Marvel's Rivals, which is absolutely free, and it's coming out in 2025, which is basically the exact same concept of what the 5v5 hero shooters are basically all about. And the best part is that this game is absolutely free of cost. So you're not even having to pay any money for this game, and it's going to be a full-on live service game, and it's releasing on PS5, on Xbox, as well as on the PC version, with a full-on cross-play features enabled. And with a game like this coming out, PlayStation decides that they should go ahead and cancel The Last of Us Part 2's faction multiplayer and focus their upcoming project on a game like Concord. And that just says it all. They've just set themselves up for one of the biggest disappointments. And as of now, there isn't really any good game that's coming out for PS5 as a first-party title. Now, I think that Sony most probably thought that Rise of the Ronin was going to be like a major hit like Ghost of Tsushima, and that's probably why they invested on this game. And it was just too late for this game and the technology. It just seems like the game was very long in development, and that's one of the reasons why the game looked very old gen, and the gameplay and all the stuff was pretty much just old gen in all the ways, and people did not really love it as much as what Sony expected, where they most probably thought that it was going to blow up like Sekiro or even Ghost of Tsushima, and that's not the case. release here. So it turned out to be a massive flop once again, just like Concord. And then there's also this another first-party game that just turned out to be massacred. And Bungie Studios, the guys behind Destiny 3, they have already announced that they're working on Destiny 3. But right now, Bungie seems to be firing all of their employees. They're completely laying off the entire studio, and they're no longer going to be working on the Destiny 3 as of now. Maybe the project is just kept on a halt. It's not going to be further into development because Sony decided that enough is enough. We're not going to be taking any more suggestions from Bungie because we've already ruined ourselves doing that. And now it seems like Bungie appears to be getting further integrated into Sony Interactive. So Sony Interactive is basically just taking off all the developers from Bungie and bringing them into Sony PlayStation itself in order to work on more first-party games for Sony to develop so that they can withstand what's coming up for 2025 as a competition against Xbox, or maybe just making profits in the gaming industry. Now, they have fired 155 employees from Bungie, and they are now transferred all the way to Sony. And there's also another 75 employees who have formed a brand new Sony Studios. And this studio is apparently going to be working on a first-party game that's coming up from Sony PlayStation. So we don't have any further information on what kind of a game it's going to be, but we know that there is something that's already been cooking, and Bungie's developers are the ones that are working on it right now. And I really hope that turns out to be a single-player game and they don't try anything really weird with the multiplayer aspect, because as we know, Sony is pretty bad at making decisions. Now, honestly, I think that the best thing that Sony should do as of now is to basically just give green light to some of the games that fans have been asking for so long. And one of the major titles that I think that Sony should give a green light to is going to be Days Gone 2, man. Like, the game definitely deserves a sequel. And although reviewers like IGNs have completely butchered this game, I think Sony should kind of just pay attention to what fans want rather than what the review outlets want, and rather than what other developers think. I think it's time that Sony listens to fans. If not, they're just going to be destroying their first-party industry for 2025. And I honestly think that it would be a great comeback for Sony if they decide to give a green light for Days Gone 2. So I want all of you guys to go ahead and support Days Gone 2 in the comments down below. Make sure to go down in the comments and let the developers at Sony know that you guys want Days Gone 2 to happen, and you would love it if Sony gives a green light to this project. So please just take a few seconds off your valuable time and leave a comment down below, because I know that people from Sony and different development studios, they do watch these videos, and if at all they want to take feedback from you gamers, I think the comment section is going to be the best place for you guys to go ahead and share your opinions down below. Now, with that being said, 2025 is going to be a great year for Game Pass and Xbox, and also for PC games. But as of now, the only games that I'm looking forward to is going to be Assassin's Creed Shadows. Although the game has a lot of backlash, but still, I'm a huge Assassin's Creed fan, so I'm still gonna go ahead and try that game out. And I'm also very interested in Call of Duty Black Ops 6 this year. So these are the two games that I'm gonna be spending most of my 2025 in. Let me know your choice down below in the comments. And of course, I know that Ubisoft is making Assassin's Creed Shadows as a live service game, which means that at least 3 years from now, they're going to be releasing a lot of content, seasonal contents, and a lot of stuff like that, which they previously tried with Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So I think they're going to do something like that with Assassin's Creed Shadows as well. So I'm very excited for all of that stuff. So I would love to know, what are your opinions? Which games are you guys looking forward to this year? And yeah, with that being said, if you guys are looking for a YouTube channel that covers all the latest and the greatest information, news, updates, leaks, and all the stuff that you guys need about upcoming games, it's going to be available first on my channel right here. So make sure to go ahead, subscribe. It's absolutely free of cost. You don't have to pay a dime in order to subscribe to the channel. That's the best part about YouTube. So go ahead, take advantage of it while I keep you guys updated with all the latest information, news, everything that you guys need about upcoming games. Now, with that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you guys on tomorrow's video. Until then, take it easy, fams, and goodbye.